Bring in Ken Rogoff, former chief economist of the International Monetary Fund. Ken, we need an international economist like you to help explain the ramifications of all this. How do you see the spillover effects for Russia's economy, for starters?
For Russia's economy, it's pretty dramatic. Yeah, they have workarounds about not being able to use the international messaging system, SWIFT. They have some workarounds in the short run for having the central bank reserves frozen, but it makes them very vulnerable. There's no question about it. Of course, at the same time, energy prices are blowing through the charts. That's their main exports. Gives them, something to counterbalance that with.
Do you see a potential debt default here?
Well, in a way, in our freezing the assets of the Russian central bank, they could argue we've done a debt default to them. But no, I mean, Russia is so strong. I don't think the issue is debt default. I think the real concern is what will Putin do? If our sanctions don't hurt, maybe he won't do much quickly. But if we are successful in really tightening the screws, and they have really broken the glass and done some amazing things, sanctioning the central bank this way, I mean, that's something that often isn't even done in wartime. And if that doesn't do that much, well, maybe he'll take a while to react. But if it does, I don't know what his next move is. And, clearly a very emotional, erratic person, and he doesn't like to lose. I think he's more likely to double down than to back down.
And so, Ken, that implies you think that the main risk of these economic measures are whatever Putin might do in terms of, militarily or through other means of aggression, or do you mean economic spillover effects?
Well, I mean, cyber is the first thing he can do. There's spillover effects, but look, Russia's not a big economy. Ukraine's not a big economy. The issue is much more that Russia's a place that can do a lot of damage to the world, create a lot of instability. Just, threatening is bad. But cyber war is a real thing. I believe we can do more to Russia than they can do to us. But, it could escalate. That's always been the concern of cyber war, that it shouldn't happen. But what if it did? It's hard to know what he'll do next. But again, I don't think he's prepared to lose. And we have to make him lose, but it doesn't necessarily end here.
So it doesn't sound like you're particularly worried about the effect on the global economy at this point. Is that right?
Well, the global economy is in difficult straits with inflation out of control, the central banks needing to tighten. This creates a lot of geopolitical uncertainty, which is eventually going to discourage consumers, investors. This is not over yet. We're just at the beginning of this. So what really matters is, will the situation stabilize? I think if it does, and we're just left with these sanctions, it will certainly be bad for the global economy, higher inflation, lower growth, supply chains. But it's not necessarily going to be worse by an order of magnitude than things we've been experiencing already.
One of the initial, maybe unexpected outcomes here is the German government saying they're going to ramp up spending on its military, and perhaps even having to accelerate some, energy infrastructure spending and do some deficit spending. Germany has fiscal space. Maybe other countries do too. Does that change the equation much at all, whether it's for European growth or anything else?
Well, I think a move we have to do back is to stop defunding the military and, try to, do something, particularly in Europe. I mean, Europe spends vastly less than the United States, and it's completely incoherent and ineffective. They need to do more, probably we do, but also energy independence. I mean, the environmental sustainability is the most important thing, but you have to get there. You have to have a strategic plan. And Germany especially, but the whole world has left itself wide open to this. If Russia were to cut gas off to Germany and Italy, they'd be thrown into deep recessions, similar to what we started off with COVID.